Every year, crores of devotees climb 7 sacred hills in Andhra Pradesh to see one deity. They stand in queues for hours, sometimes days, in rain, in heat, in complete silence. The Tirumala Venkateswara temple is the most visited religious site on earth and the richest. Its annual income exceeds that of the Vatican, of the Golden Temple, of every other place of worship in the world. But here is what almost nobody knows. This temple, this extraordinary place of divine abundance, exists because God went bankrupt. 1 crore and 14 lakh gold coins, borrowed, not given, not donated, borrowed by the Supreme Being of the universe from the God of wealth. And that loan, with centuries of compounding interest, has not been repaid yet. This is not mythology invented to encourage charity. This is a story recorded in the Venkatachala Mahatmya, a section of the Skanda Purana, one of the 18 great Puranas of the Hindu tradition. And it begins not with a loan, not with a temple, not even with a god. It begins with a kick. In the celestial realm of Vaikuntha, a place of perfect divine peace, the sage Bhrigu arrived on a mission. The sages of the earth had gathered to determine once and for all which of the 3 great deities of creation was the most worthy of reverence: Brahma the creator, Shiva the destroyer, or Vishnu the preserver. Bhrigu was sent to test each one. He visited Brahma first, then Shiva. Both failed his test of humility in different ways. Then he came to Vaikuntha. He found Lord Vishnu reclining on the cosmic serpent Adishesha, absorbed in divine repose, attended by Goddess Lakshmi herself. Bhrigu called out once, twice, 3 times, no response, and through it all, Goddess Lakshmi watched. From her place in Vishnu's chest, she witnessed every moment of what was about to happen. The sage, furious at being ignored, did something that would echo across all of creation for millennia. He walked forward and he kicked Lord Vishnu in the chest. And Vishnu, the preserver of the universe, the sustainer of all creation, did not retaliate. He rose gently from his divine repose. He took the sage's foot in both hands and he began to massage it softly with complete compassion, saying, "O sage of sages, your tender foot must be in pain. My chest is hard as diamond. Are you hurt?" In that moment of extraordinary divine humility, Vishnu gently pressed the sole of Bhrigu's foot, and with that compassionate touch, closed the third eye of pride and ego that had long resided there. The sage who had come to test the gods found himself undone by an act of forgiveness. He left Vaikuntha in tears, declaring to the assembled sages that Vishnu alone was worthy of the highest reverence. But someone had witnessed everything. Goddess Lakshmi, the divine consort of Vishnu, resides in his chest, the very chest that the sage had struck with his foot. In private, she said to her Lord, "The place which had been my abode since the beginning of creation was touched by another's foot. I cannot remain here." And she left Vaikuntha, not in anger, not in fury, but in a quiet, wounded dignity that was more devastating than any storm could have been. With her departure, heaven itself became incomplete. The golden light of Vaikuntha dimmed, the celestial rivers slowed, the divine music fell silent, the flowers stopped blooming, Vishnu, the one who sustains all creation, stood alone in his own heaven. He searched for Lakshmi. He called her name across the universe, but she had gone to earth, to a place called Kolhapur, where she sat in her own penance, her own waiting, her own sorrow. And Vishnu, for the first time in all of creation, did not know what to do. Vishnu left Vaikuntha. The Lord of all creation, who had never needed anything, descended to earth. He came to the sacred Venkata hills of South India, a place of deep forest, ancient trees, a still sacred pond called the Pushkarini, its waters holding the memory of 1,000 divine moments. And there, beneath a tamarind tree, beside that sacred pond, he did something that no scripture had prepared anyone for. The Supreme Being of all creation sat inside an anthill, no throne, no celestial palace, no attendants, no divine music, just earth and roots and darkness and silence, and the quiet sound of his own longing as he chanted the name of Mahalakshmi, his wife, over and over into the indifferent earth. Days passed, weeks, months. The forest did not know that the preserver of all creation was meditating within an anthill at its heart. The trees grew, the pond reflected the seasons, the birds came and went, and deep inside the earth, a divine light burned quietly, waiting. He emerged, not in anger, not in impatience. Before him, the sacred Pushkarini pond, perfectly still, reflecting the divine form that had just emerged from the earth beside it. In complete, serene, divine calm, as if emerging from the deepest meditation imaginable, ready for whatever came next. Taking pity on Vishnu, two divine beings decided to help. Brahma, the creator of the universe, and Shiva, the destroyer. Together they disguised themselves as a cow and her calf and went to the forest of the Venkata hills. Think about that for a moment. The creator of the universe and the destroyer of the universe becoming dairy animals to serve the preserver. Every single day, the divine cow would make her way to the anthill beneath the tamarind tree, and silently, faithfully, she would empty her milk over it, feeding the divine hidden within the earth. But the cow belonged to a king's herd, and her cowherd noticed something troubling. This cow was giving no milk at the palace. Every day she returned empty. He followed her through the forest, along the winding paths, to the tamarind tree, to the anthill. He watched in fury as his cow poured her milk, his livelihood, into an anthill in the ground. In his anger, he raised his axe, and Vishnu, who had heard everything from within the earth, rose. He stepped forward, between the cowherd and the cow, between human anger and divine disguise, and he took the blow. A mark of divine golden luminescence appeared on his forehead. Not a wound, but a sacred sign. The moment when the Supreme Being chose to absorb human anger rather than retaliate against it. The cowherd fell to the ground, his axe forgotten, his hands joining instinctively in Namaste, his eyes filling with tears he could not explain. He had raised his hand against a god, and the god had protected him from the consequence of his own action. Across the universe, something else was happening. Lakshmi, in her penance at Kolhapur, was performing her own waiting, her own seeking, and through the divine orchestration that governs all things, she was reborn on earth as Padmavathi, daughter of King Akasha Raja, a princess of the 7 hills, golden complexioned, lotus-eyed, born from a divine lotus, radiant with the quiet, unmistakable quality of someone who is not entirely of this world. And Vishnu, now living on earth as Srinivasa, the son of the gentle elderly Vakula Devi, found her. Vakula Devi was no ordinary woman. She was the rebirth of Yashoda, the beloved foster mother of Lord Krishna. And in her previous life, she had missed the great occasion of Krishna's wedding. Vishnu, in his infinite compassion, had promised her then that she would be present at his next wedding. And here she was, fulfilling that promise, as the mother who would arrange the marriage of the Supreme Being himself. Srinivasa came to Padmavati's city disguised as a fortune teller, a young man, no divine ornaments, no crown, no forearms, just a face that held something ancient and familiar in its eyes. They met in a garden of the 7 hills. Neither spoke for a long moment. Both recognized 2 souls, separated across the vast distances of divine drama, finding each other on the shores of ordinary human life. They fell in love with the certainty of recognition rather than the uncertainty of discovery. But there was a condition. King Akasha Raja, proud, protective, testing, said to Srinivasa, "You want to marry my daughter? Then bear the full expenses of this wedding yourself. Prove you are worthy." And Srinivasa, the supreme being of all creation, looked at his empty hands and made a decision that would keep him on earth until the end of time. Srinivasa went to Kubera, the god of wealth, the divine treasurer of the universe, the one being in all of creation who had enough gold to fund a wedding worthy of the Supreme Being. He went not as a god demanding tribute, but as a groom, humble, purposeful, asking for a loan. Kubera listened, and he agreed, and on one condition, until every coin was repaid with interest. By the end of Kali Yuga, Srinivasa could not return to Vaikuntha. 1 crore and 14 lakh gold coins. A sacred document was prepared, the terms of the divine loan written in celestial tongue, binding the Lord of all creation to his word. Brahma himself signed the sacred document as witness. Shiva signed beside him. The 2 great deities in creation, standing witness to a divine debt. The gold flowed in a magnificent cascade, each coin catching the celestial light, a river of divine wealth flowing from the treasury of the universe to fund the wedding of the universe's own preserver. And somewhere in Vaikuntha, the golden palace stood empty. Its Lord had chosen earth, had chosen love, had chosen death, had chosen us. Because that is what the loan means. It means Vishnu chose to stay, not because he had to, but because the debt kept him here, on this earth, available, present, waiting on his 7 hills for every devotee who climbs those steps to see him. The richest temple on earth, built around a divine debt that keeps God among us. The Vishnu Sahasranama, the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, was recited by Bhishma Pitamaha after the great war of Kurukshetra was over. Not during the battle, but after it. Bhishma lay on a bed of arrows on the battlefield, wounded but choosing to wait for the sacred time of Uttarayana before departing. Lord Krishna brought Yudhishthira to him, so that the wisdom of this great man would not leave the world with him. And lying there on his bed of arrows, Bhishma chanted these 1,000 names to Yudhishthira, to Krishna, to all who were present. Each name a different door into the same infinite presence. Hare Om Vishwasmai Namaha. Vishwam Vishnurvashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Bhutakrit Bhavo Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha Bhutatma Paramatma Cha Muktanam Paramagatihi Avyaya Purushah Sakshi Kshetrajñokshara eva cha Yogo Yoga Vidanneta Pradhana Purusheshwaraha Narasimhavaku Shriman Keshava Purushottamaha Sarvasharva Shivasthanur Bhuta Dhirnidiravyayah Sambhavo Bhavano Bharta Prabhava Prabhurishwaraha Swayambhu Shambhuraditya Pushkaraksho Mahaswanaha Anadinidano Dhata Vidhata Dhaturuttamaha Aprameyo Rishikeshat Patmanabho Amara Prabhu Vishwakarma Manustvashta Stavishtastavirodruvaha Agrahya Shashvata Krishno Lohitaksha Pratardanaha Prabhutastrika Kubdhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. 1,000 names, and still not enough to contain him. The wedding happened. On the sacred hills of Tirumala, Srinivasa and Padmavathi were married. In a ceremony witnessed by all the gods. In a moment that completed what the kick of Bhrigu had set in motion. The long journey of 2 divine beings finding each other on the shores of human experience. And they stayed, not because they could not leave, but because the debt kept them here, among us, on these 7 hills, available to every human heart that climbs those steps with an offering, however small, in trembling hands. Look at those hands, millions of them, over thousands of years, placing offerings through the golden grill of the Tirumala hundi. The hands of farmers, of merchants, of students, of the very old and the very young, each one believing they are asking God for something. But the Venkatachala Mahatmya tells us something different. Each offering is not a petition, it is a repayment. The devotee is helping God settle his debt to Kubera, so he can go home. About 6 months after the celestial wedding, Brahma and Shiva explained to Lakshmi where her Lord had gone and why. And Lakshmi and her form as Padmavathi both chose to remain with him. They merged with the divine form. Lakshmi on his left side, Padmavathi on his right, as stone, as sacred presence, never to be separated from him again. He is not alone on those hills. He never was. Every morning, before the sun rises over the Venkata hills, the priests of Tirumala wake Lord Venkateswara with the Suprabhatam, the divine good morning. Composed in the 15th century by Prativadi Bhayankara Annangaracharya, a Sri Vaishnava scholar saint, born in 1361 in Kanchipuram, this hymn of 29 verses calls upon the Lord to rise as dawn breaks over the sacred hill. Every morning, for 600 years, someone has been waking God on those hills, and God, bound by his debt, has been there to receive it. Om Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Narashadula Kartavyam Daivamanhikam Uttishta Govinda Uttishta Garudadvaja Uttishta Kamalakanta Trailokyam Mangalam Kuru Matas Samasta Jagatam Madukaita Bhare Vaksho Viharini Manohara Divyamurte Shri Swami Nishrita Janapriyadana Shile Shri Venkatesha Daite Tava Suprabhatam Aravindalochane Bhavatu Prasanna Mukhachandra Mandale Vidishankarendra Vanita Birarchite Vrishashailanada Daite Dayanidhe. Auspicious dawn on the sacred hills. The same words, 600 years, every single morning. The Venkatachala Mahatmya of the Skanda Purana records this story in approximately 11,000 verses. Most of us have visited Tirumala at some point in our lives. Most of us have stood in that queue, tired, hopeful, and placed something through the golden grill of the hundi. 100 rupees, 1,000, whatever we could offer. We thought we are asking God for something. Now you know what that offering actually is. It is a repayment. You are helping God go home, and He, bound by His own word, His own debt, His own extraordinary act of love, stays on those hills until you do. The most visited temple on earth. The most patient God in all of creation, waiting. This is divine novel, where the ancient stories of our civilization are told the way they are always meant to be told. Not as mythology to be memorized, but as living wisdom to be felt. If the story moved you, share it with someone you love. They deserve to know why they stand in that queue at Tirumala. Subscribe to Divine Novel for more stories from the Puranas, the Vedas, and the great epics of our tradition. And if you have been to Tirumala, tell me in the comments. Tell me what you felt standing there. I would love to know.